Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jackie Weatherall and I'm the Chief Executive. I'm just going to, prior to the meeting, outline Council's governance rules for people in the chamber this evening. Council meetings, making them a safe place for everyone. During the Council meeting, members of the public cannot address the meeting outside of public question time, must not interject or act offensively, must remain seated, must switch your mobile phones to mute, must not operate any recording device, audio or visual, without obtaining consent from the Chief Executive Officer at least 3 days prior to the Council meeting, and can display placards or posters provided they're not offensive, do not obstruct entrances and exits to the chamber or impede any view or person. The Chair can direct any members of the public to stop interjecting or acting offensively. If that behaviour continues, the Chair can ask an authorised officer or a member of Victoria Police to remove members of the public from the chamber. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ms Weatherall. Item 1, meeting opening. Welcome to the Ordinary Council meeting, Monday the 28th of April. Item 1.2, attendance. Are there any apologies, Ms Weatherall?
Yes, Mr Mayor. We have apologies this evening from Councillor Sean O'Reilly, Councillor Lloyd Trung and Councillor Sophie Tan, and I just want to remind you that Councillor Rhonda Garrard is currently on a leave of absence. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Weatherall. Item 1.3, acknowledgement of traditional custodians of the land. Those who wish to stand for the acknowledgement to country are welcome to do so. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land, the Bunurong people, and pay respect to their elders past and present. We recognise and respect their continuing connections to climate, culture, country and waters, and we also pay our respect and acknowledge all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and their elders present here today in acknowledging their journey. Item 1.4, offering of prayer, reflection or affirmation. As part of Council's commitment to recognising the cultural and spiritual diversity of our community, the prayer, reflection or affirmation this evening will be offered by Councillor Philip Dann.
Change has come unbidden and at times unwelcome. There are many challenges to be faced and overcome. Change can be daunting and scary, but it has come. Ready or not, change is here and must be accepted. May we be equal to the task ahead of us, ready to renew ourselves, ready to take on the new, anxious to let go of old ideas that no longer fit, moving with confidence into the future, our future. Make us strong enough to triumph, flexible enough to grow and change as needed, optimistic enough to see the new opportunities as we move into the changing landscape of our lives. We accept and welcome the change that has come. We are ready to embrace change and move swiftly forward. We are ready.
Thank you, Councillor Dann. Item 1.5, confirmation of minutes of previous meeting of Council held on the 14th of April 2025.
Councillor Milkovich.
Moved by Councillor Milkovich. Second by Councillor Dann. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition?
Mayor, could I just check?
Sorry, Councillor Formoso.
Sorry, just checking that you can hear me. We didn't do an audio test previously.
I can hear you, Councillor Formoso. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have a mover of Councillor Milkovich, second by Councillor Dann. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? If there is no opposition, I declare the item carried. Item 1.6, disclosures of interest. Ms Weatherall.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. There's no disclosures of interest that have been registered with me this evening.
Thank you, Ms Weatherall. 2, Officers' Reports, Part 1. 2.1, Petitions and Joint Letters. 2.1.1, Petitions and Joint Letters. Moved by Councillor Formoso, second by Councillor Dann. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? If there is no opposition, I declare the item carried. Item 2.2, statutory planning applications. 2.2.1, planning delegated decisions issued March 2025. Moved by Councillor Milkovich, second by Councillor Dann. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? If there is no opposition, I declare the item carried. Item 3, public question time. Ms Weatherall.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And our first question this evening is from Frank Mahalik of Keysborough. Is Frank here? No. If Frank's not here. I will read out the question myself, and it concerns zebra crossing request in Keysborough. There is a safety issue crossing from Westwood Boulevard to Kaylana Drive, Keysborough. The closest crossing is Dandenong Bypass. I'm requesting to have a zebra crossing from Westwood and Kaylana for young children, elderly, as well as wheelchair access, as my son is on the spectrum and at times finds it difficult to cross.
Mr. Manivasagasavam.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you for your question, Frank. Zebra crossings require approval from the Victorian government and are typically only supported at locations where speeds are low, pedestrian volumes are high enough. Without supporting infrastructure to keep speeds low, this location is not considered appropriate for a zebra crossing. Council officers are currently working with the Victorian government on a road safety infrastructure improvement plan for Chapel Road in this area. We anticipate applying for a funding through the Victorian government Safer Local Roads and Streets program for a project which would include traffic calming, crossing points and a reduction in speed limit. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasavam. Ms. Weatherall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And our next question is from Gay Guest of Keysborough, and it concerns emergency response heatwave. In September 2023, City Greater Dandenong was the flagship hosting the Heatwave Forum at the Drum Theatre, where organisations, agencies and reps from other local government authorities engaged in collaborative discussions how a heatwave could be handled both locally and regionally. There was a chain of command identified at the forum for City Greater Dandenong. However, with departments and staff moving roles or leaving, residents now wonder who's in charge of this local emergency role and what would activate an emergency. Residents left with this sound message from the forum. Residents are completely on their own to deal with any emergency that may occur. GSEM and SECA seem to align on livability, sustainability and well-being. Why would the City of Greater Dandenong want to leave a collaborative regional committee creating a hole in this regional donut, City Greater Dandenong being the hole, when even the Minister of Local Government is bemused as to why City Greater Dandenong would want to deflect? You cannot continue to ask for assistance with infrastructure, rate capping and the like if our municipality is vulnerable to climate change.
Mr. Manivasagasavam.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you for your question, Gay. Greater Dandenong City Council remains committed to action on climate change and supporting the community through implementation of emergency management plan, and will continue to work with relevant agencies and alliances such as GSEM to minimize the risk and impact of any future emergency events. Council decision on ongoing membership of SECA is based on their 24-28 strategic plan and delivering good value for money to our residents. The decision is not seek to reduce Council's climate action. Council has made significant progress in transition into net zero and will continue supporting the climate action projects that deliver direct benefits and good value to the Greater Dandenong community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasavam, and thank you, Ms. Weatherall. Just like to table the questions that were taken on notice at the last council meeting. Thank you.
Yes,
very
Mr.
much.
Mayor.
Councillors, we'll move on to the next item. Item 4, Officers' Reports, Part 2, 4.1 Other, 4.1.1 LGBTIQA Plus Advisory Committee Minutes.
Happy to
Happy to move that, Mayor.
Councillor Doe, I think, has got an amendment. Councillor Doe.
Apologies. I note the development of a draft LGBTQI plus action plan is subject to council budget approval.
Thank you, Councillor Doe. Seconder, Councillor Formosa. Are there any questions?
I wasn't aware of this amendment, Mayor.
Would you like to, Councillor Doe, to read it again, or do
Yes,
you
please.
not want to second it? Would you like it read again?
Yes, please.
Okay, Councillor Doe, can you please read it again?
The amendment is to note the development of a draft LGBTQI plus action plan is subject to council budget approval.
Thank you, Councillor Doe. Moved by Councillor Doe. You still want to second it, Councillor Formosa, or?
Not at this stage, Mayor.
Okay, do we have a seconder?
I'm
Councillor
happy to second
Dunn. Are there any questions? Is it?
Yeah, Mayor.
Yes, Councillor Formosa, questions?
So I'd like questions in regards to the question that Councillor Doe was just referring to, please.
Ms Sajari?
Through you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Formoso. This trip, I was away for 3 weeks, so when I reviewed the report today, when I came back after the annual leave, I realized that for the recommendation 3, there is a request to the council for the development of the draft LGBTQ action plan. So because it's required the resources, the recommendation to council is just note these, that we have to consider in the council budget the resourcing for that, and depending on approval in the council budget, and then the development of the draft LGBTQI document, action plan can go ahead. That was the amendment that's saying that for the third item recommendations, note the approval of the development is subject to the council budget approval.
Thank you, Ms Sajari. Any further questions? Councillor Formosa?
Yes, thanks, Ms Hajari, for clarifying. I'm just trying to understand why that wasn't allocated in the budget in the first place. Is that because the meeting happened before the budget, or can you give me some understanding of that, please?
Ms Sajari?
Through you, Mayor, yes, exactly, because the development to prepare the budget was not was earlier that is
after the fact. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms Sajari. Any further questions, councillors? Is there any opposition? If there is no opposition, I declare the item carried. Item 4.2.1, list of registered correspondence to the Mayor and councillors.
Happy to move that, Mayor.
Moved by Councillor Formoso, second by Councillor Yim. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? If there is no opposition, I declare the item carried. 4.1.3 reports on matters discussed at councillor briefing sessions and pre-council meetings. Moved by Councillor Milkovich, seconded by Councillor Dan. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? There is no opposition. I declare the item carried. Item 5, Notice of Motion. 5.1, Notice of Motion number 9, Rescission Motion in relation to South East Council's Climate Change Alliance SECA membership. Moved by Councillor Doe. Moving it. Is there a seconder? Second by Councillor Yim. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? Councillor Milkovich in opposition. Councillor Doe.
Thank you, Councillor Mehmeti. As young leaders, we push for proactive climate policies, not just for our future, but for our generations to come. Our vote to remain in SECA underscores a generational shift towards prioritising sustainability, resilience, and long-term environmental responsibility. Regional cooperation is absolutely crucial for climate resilience, and the decision to withdraw from SECA, driven by cost concerns, overlooks the broader benefits of collective climate initiatives. Quitting isn't an option, it merely shifts the burden. Climate disasters strain public infrastructure and necessitating frequent repairs and upgrades. Beyond immediate financial concerns, we must focus on the broader impact of inter-council collaboration. Our continued involvement highlights a future-focused approach, acknowledging that climate challenges cannot be tackled in isolation. There is a necessity of sustained regional action in addressing climate challenges, and while individual council initiatives are important, like increased tree planting and local tree protection laws, the larger-scale impacts of alliances like SECA plays a crucial role in creating meaningful change across municipalities. While local initiatives like tree planting are important, as discussed, the misconception that local and regional efforts are mutually exclusive is false. Both are essential and complementary. So having both the alliances like SECA to help create meaningful change across municipalities while also working on local initiatives. New data commissioned by an independent community-funded organisation and compiled by a private company that provides risk analysis to property owners shows rising insurance unaffordability due to climate risk. By 2050, 1.3% of properties in Keysborough and 1 in 50 in Noble Park and Dandenong will be uninsurable or impossible to insure. In Dandenong South, this is 1 in 20. This absolutely impacts households and businesses, leading to many to underinsure or not even insure at all. Insurance companies are already withdrawing from high-risk areas. For example, Shepparton's Council had its assets insured for $20 million, but after the 2022 floods, the coverage dropped to $2 million. This mirrors the Council's withdrawal motion, leaving homeowners and residents to bear the burden. Non-ratepayers and young people struggling with the living costs will also feel the impact. Renters may forego contents insurance due to rising premiums, and landlords will pass on increased costs to tenants, making housing even less affordable. SECA's initiatives help councils save money by mitigating climate-related damages. The Insurance Council of Australia states that targeting climate change is the best solution for home insurance affordability, and we must tackle this now through local measures and regional alliances like SECA or even EGA, which was not even presented as an option. Greater Dandenong is one of Victoria's most disadvantaged municipalities and will be disproportionately affected by climate change. We really cannot afford to kick the can down the road, and whether or not you believe in climate change, extreme weather events are happening and their impacts are tremendous, not to just do those in Dandenong South where 1 in 20 properties will be uninsurable, or one of the residents in Willow Lodge where their home stood in floodwaters last year. By stepping away from SECA, we're redistributing inequality and failing those who rely on strong progressive leadership. For my fellow councillors, I urge you to reconsider and support staying in SECA. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Doe. Councillor Yim.
Thank you, Mayor. I believe we should stay with SECA. Collaboration is important. It is concerning that we would be the only council stepping away. Our other 8 neighbouring councils are choosing to stay together, working as a united front on climate issues that cross all municipal borders. Withdrawing now feels short-sighted, especially when climate change demands long-term thinking and collective responsibility. By stepping away, we risk putting self-interest ahead of the collective good, and it sends a message that we are less committed to shared action when our region needs unity most. Climate action cannot be done in isolation, as Councillor Doe has said. Partnerships like SECA bring real benefits that a single council would find difficult to achieve alone. Through shared expertise, joint resources, and coordinated programs, councils have been able to deliver stronger climate outcomes, like helping businesses and households transition to renewable energy and building resilience for our most vulnerable communities. By staying part of SECA, we not only strengthen our own climate initiatives, but show leadership and responsibility across the region. I believe remaining in SECA is the best way to ensure our community is protected and prepared for the future and generations to come.
Thank you, Councillor Yim. In opposition, Councillor Milkovich.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, let me start off by saying that having this debate is not something that I really enjoy, to be quite frank and honest, because climate change is obviously something that we've got to battle. But the issue that I've got with this particular rescission motion is that I have heard about uninsurable homes in Dandenong South, about floodwaters rising, so on and so forth. I haven't heard one argument, one concrete, tangible argument as to why we should stay with SECA and what they've actually done for this council. And this is the issue that I've got. I don't have an issue with climate change and us trying to prevent what we can do as a council, whether that be installing the solar panels or increasing the canopy coverage or having the private tree protection law, private land. I haven't heard one single thing that SECA has actually done for this council, except collected money of ratepayers from this municipality. That's the issue. I'm not against climate change battle, but I'm against an organisation that collects $75,000 a year plus fees and charges over the next 3 years, which will put us out of pocket to the tune of $408,000 and some change for nothing. They haven't provided one single bit of information. This is the part that I'm not understanding. While I understand the Councillor Doe's passion for climate change, activism, and Councillor Yim's support for that, they haven't actually said one little bit of information that said SECA has done this over the past 20 years or 21 years since they've actually existed. They haven't actually provided us with anything to help us doing that. So for me to stand here, I can't in good conscience commit $408,000 and some change of our ratepayers' money to an organisation that hasn't given us anything at all. That money, in my opinion, would be better spent on issues we have on the ground, whether they'll be increasing the tree canopy coverage or, improving the infrastructure for stormwater, whatever the case is. Like I said, from both of you, with all due appreciation, I haven't heard one single piece of evidence to say this is what the SECA has done. We should be led by the actual examples of what they have done for this council. And if they were to be proven to be worthy, for us to invest money or put money towards the cause, well, 100%, I'll be all up for that. But first, they had, as far as I can read in a report, which I got to say, credits to officers for actually producing this report, because normally within any council, I would be of an opinion that the officers don't usually stand up and say, well, we're wasting money. In my opinion, it sort of goes along in whatever the councillors want. So for officers to produce a report that says, well, we have received no benefit from this particular organisation in the past 12 years that we've been members, and now they have gone from opt-in membership per actual project cost to a yearly fixed membership plus the cost. Like I said, they will put us out of pocket by over $400,000 a year. I just cannot honestly commit our ratepayers' money to an organisation that I have not heard one single piece of information, concrete information, tangible information as to what they have done for this council. And if I do, I'm happy to hear it, but I've heard nothing. All I've heard is that, yeah, they're worthy to be joined, they're fighting, they're doing this, they're doing that, but nothing was provided to us as an information. So I urge my fellow councillors, before we commit almost $500,000 of ratepayers' money, what are we actually getting back for that? Are we getting a feel-good exercise that we say, well, yeah, we're members of SECA, but we're getting nothing in return? And people say, oh, wonderful, they're members of SECA. Or are we actually getting something in return? Until such time, I can't really commit, and that's why I'm going to be opposing this rescission notice of motion. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Milkovich. Is there any further speakers? Councillor Dunn.
Thanks very much, Mayor. I will be voting against the rescission motion tonight, not for the same reasons as Councillor Milkovich, but just wanted to make a couple of quick comments. Look, I voted to remain a part of the Climate Alliance last week, and I'm disappointed about that result, but I believe that we have to respect the decision that Council made to withdraw our membership, and I'm reluctant to vote in favour of a rescission motion in this circumstance. I know there'll be many who will be disappointed by that stance, but I think it's important to note that this is a procedural motion rather than one that asks us to explore the merits of the original or the merits of rejoining again. In my experience of rescission motions, these things come up when there's been a change in circumstance, when new facts have arisen which have justified a rescission motion being put up, and in this circumstance, I made the judgment that there hasn't been any significant change in such way. While I do still maintain the view that being part of SECA is probably being part of SECA is still in our community's best interests. This door closes for now, but this is an opportunity for other means to be explored. And now Council really has the opportunity to put money where their money where the mouth is. Now that we are, more in control of our climate mitigation projects, the ball is really in our court. We were told that Council now has more independence and that we'll be able to use our funds a lot better to come up with strategies and projects that will better help our residents. Council voted for that in principle last week, and I want to be proved wrong. I want that to happen. I want to see that this path that Council's now taken can really deliver better for our residents. And of course, I think we all admire Councillor Doe's passion for environmentalism and climate mitigation, but I think now we have to step forward and we now see that this puts responsibility on all of us now to play a bigger part in this effort and make sure our community can still lead by example in addressing climate change. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dunn. Are there any further speakers? If there's no further speakers, Councillor Doe, write a reply.
Thank you, Councillor Mehmeti. So in terms of Councillor Milkovich's comment on there being tangible benefits to Greater Dandenong specific, I understand if you might have some confusion about that because of the fact that it is a regional collaboration. So things like for example, the report suggests that $75,000 is too much to invest in critical regional projects, and maybe you don't consider that specifically to target Greater Dandenong, but projects like mapping urban heat islands, developing shared EV charging infrastructure to eliminate recharging black spots and supporting local tourism, and working with our business sector, which we have in the past, to protect them from climate-related disruptions and financial loss is absolutely still relevant, even if it's not talking about directly impacting Greater Dandenong specific, and that's because climate change doesn't respect borders. So any of the works that SECA does absolutely does have a flow-on effect to us. And even when you refer to our climate emergency strategy plan, so the 2020 to 2030 action plan, it actually mentions SECA 23 individual times in regards to the actions and as well as the outcome and indicators of that, with a lot of that work being done when we first started that action plan as well. I've already spoken a lot to how I believe it's incredibly short-sighted. I understand that there have been some issues in terms of communications with SECA in the past, but this should have been worked through instead of just throwing in the towel. I've spoken to other councillors over the last couple of weeks whose councils are part of SECA, and they are extremely, from all reports, their council officers are extremely happy and they get incredible value for money. The fact that, when I spoke to them about us withdrawing from SECA, they were incredibly surprised that it was a officer recommendation because by all accounts, their officers are very happy, believing they are getting a very good return on investment. I'd also like to note that the budget for SECA this year is 0.05% of our budget. So it's that's not even 0.5%, it's 0.05%. It's a very small investment for our future. And I don't understand why we can't do both. Why can't we do local initiatives as well as also attacking it at a regional level? Because as I've mentioned multiple times, climate absolutely does not have any boundaries, and completely acknowledging the importance of local initiatives like tree planting and increasing tree canopy coverage. But when I think about residents who are going to be here for the next, 25, 50, 75 years, when I think about our kids and their kids' kids, I am just absolutely, these are one of those decisions I think that we'll look back on and think, yes, we should have done some action earlier, we should have stayed. And so I really, really do believe that we should stay in SECA. I think it's absolutely, we can demand more, and we should have probably evaluated that a lot better. I don't understand why we wouldn't want to stay in SECA, but as mentioned, I'll leave it with the councillors to make the decisions, knowing that this does, this is going to leave a legacy. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Doe. All those councillors in favour of the rescission motion, please raise your hand. Councillor Yim, Councillor Doe. All those councillors against, Councillor Dunn, Councillor Mameti, Councillor Leck, Councillor Milkovich and Councillor Formoso. The item has been lost, 5-2. Move on to item 6, reports from councillors, delegated members and councillor questions. Councillor Formoso.
Starting with me again, Mayor. Thank you. Thanks very much. Something that's deeply troubling me and is of serious concern is that I normally attend at local Anzac Day services here in Dandenong to pay my respect with my family. This year I decided to take the early morning trek to attend the Shrine of Remembrance in the city, and Mayor, I very quickly regretted that decision. The booing of Uncle Mark Brown during the Welcome to Country ceremony has rightly been described as abhorrent and deeply disrespectful. Uncle Mark Brown, a respected Wurundjeri elder, also my friend, was performing a Welcome to Country, a practice that has become an important and respectful part of major Australian ceremonies. Particularly something like Anzac Day, that are about national reflection, unity and remembrance. The act of booing during a Welcome to Country shows a lack of respect, understanding, empathy, not only towards Uncle Mark Brown, but personally, and also towards First Nations Australians more broadly. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people have served in every single conflict Australia has been involved in, often doing so at a time when they weren't even recognised as citizens. Anzac Day should be an occasion to honour all Australians who served, including Indigenous soldiers whose sacrifices have often been overlooked. I condemn this incident, and this behaviour does not reflect the values of Anzac Day: respect, inclusion and remembrance. And I was in contact with Uncle Mark Brown shortly after the ceremony, Mayor. So if I could ask you to write a letter on behalf of the City of Greater Dandenong to Uncle Mark, just showing our support, and that this does not reflect us, or should also not represent every Australian that has the privilege of living in this country.
I'll be happy to do that, Councillor Formosa.
Thank you. Another matter that I'd like to raise is something that I'm all too familiar with, is unsolicited material that has been floating around for the upcoming federal election. I'm noticing more and more of it in places where it obviously shouldn't be. I did note an email that has gone out from Council to all the candidates, reminding them of their obligations and where they can and cannot place their material. There's been some pretty horrific material that I have seen, some banners that were extremely disgusting towards another candidate. And I've even seen a lot of corflutes and things on our public spaces, parks and reserves. So I even noticed that one candidate had nailed some of their corflutes onto our trees, Mayor, if you can believe it. So just wondering what our team is doing in terms of going around and checking our facilities, or are we waiting for people to put in a SnapSense solver, a complaint themselves, if the appropriate person could respond? Thank you.
Yeah, through you, Mayor. Certainly this is a really topical issue, especially at the moment with the election very near. We've had quite a few reports from various people about signs in inappropriate locations. Some of the locations are council locations, so council officers have been out and undertaken to remove those, and certainly we've sent out correspondence to all the candidates, but many of them are also on either private land or on state government land. So we've contacted Vic Roads and others to remove a lot of them. And certainly it's concerning to hear about some of their inappropriate locations. But our council, along with our neighbouring councils, is actively out there and trying to manage this as best we can. But I think they're very prolific at the moment. It certainly shouldn't last for too long, but certainly we're trying hard to keep up with the volume.
Thank you, Ms Weatherall. Councillor Formosa.
Yeah, thanks, Miss Weatherall. I just noticed quite a few, even in the local parks and reserves here in Dandenong North. So if we could maybe just get some officers to do a bit of a sweep, particularly on our land and, of course, our trees, that'd be really, really good. That's all from me. Thanks, Mayor.
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor, yes, we will, but also I think your suggestion, Councillor Formosa, for residents to SnapSense solve is a great one, because that really helps us know where the locations are. Thank you.
What would be the turnaround time with that? Sorry, Miss Weatherall, if they were to receive, because I know that usually takes 5 to 10 business days. Election will be well and truly over by then.
We've had a hotspot team running around and looking at how to deal with that, but it would depend on the location and whether it's council land or land which we don't control. So I don't want to generalise, but we'll try and be as prompt on our land as we possibly can.
Thank you, Ms Weatherall.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Mayor. That's all from me.
Councillor Milkovich.
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lair. Do you want to click on the button? Thank you.
Okay. We just do a Z day. That's it.
Sorry? Do you want to report? You went?
Okay. Yeah. Just Anzac Day.
Yes.
3 events in the day, and another day in Sunday for the injection removal in Richmond North. not Richmond. That's it.
Thank you, Councillor Lair.
Thank you.
Councillor Doe.
Thank you, Councillor Murdy. I have a few questions. First of all, I just wanted to follow up on an inquiry I made to officers in early March regarding a potential issue with Waze that was raised with me regarding delayed usage of the facilities or accommodation due to some issues with it. My understanding was that they weren't able to move into it, and I don't understand I wasn't aware of the core issue as to why. But are you able to advise if that was indeed a problem, and if so, was this resolved? Thank you.
Was that Waze, sorry?
Waze, yeah.
Waze. Ms. Hajari.
Through you, Mayor, and thank you for your question. I definitely will come back to you with detail of that, but from my understanding, after receiving your email, that documentation was part of the document they had to provide for settling down. So it was not necessarily an issue, it was part of the process, and from my understanding, they provided that documents to councillors, and they were very quick and keen to settle their residents. But I can confirm with you and get back to you tomorrow to confirm that. From my understanding, it's the document has been provided to us, and they should be.
Okay,
Right.
great.
Thank you, Ms. Hajari. Councillor Doe.
Thank you. I would really appreciate that update. My next question is, what are we currently proactively doing about illegal dumping in the area, and do we see any future changes in how we are approaching this due to the increase of illegal dumping?
Mr. Manivasagassavam.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you for that question. We do a number of education process for the community to sort of improve the illegal dumping, but our hard waste collection, it's only 30% of our residents use our hard waste collection, so we need to promote that furthermore. But also what we are looking at is the over the next 12 to 18 months, we are going to completely review our waste management services, and also how we can improve the illegal dumping. And also not only that, we need to look at more enforcement actions as well, because over the past 12 months, we have successfully did a lot of infringements, and then and also they took some people fined up to $7,000 on illegal dumping. So we need to do further on that as well.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagassavam. Councillor Doe.
Thank you. I've also noted a Facebook post today as well from Council, so noting that since 2020 we've reduced our operational emissions by over 80%. Can you please confirm how this was achieved and how we've been tracking with our community emissions in comparison, and any benchmarking we've done?
Mr. Manivasagassavam.
Through you, Mayor. So how we reduce that is the main thing is around power purchasing agreement. So we purchase green power for all our facilities. And also, in addition to that, we have installed 600 kilowatts of solar panels. And also we have transitioned 27 council fleet into lower emission vehicles, and also replacement of gas assets into an electric assets in many of our buildings. So these combined, we achieved around 82% of emission reduction. But I don't have any data on the community one, but I'm happy to sort of follow up with my team.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagassavam. Councillor Doe.
Thank you. I'll touch base with you offline regarding that one then.
Councillor Yim.
Thank you, Mayor. On Wednesday, the 23rd of April, I attended the 110th anniversary of the Armenian Genocide. It was a significant moment of remembrance for Armenians and for all those who seek to prevent future atrocities. It honours the 1.5 million lives lost beginning in 1915 and reminds the world of the devastating consequences of hatred and intolerance. This milestone called for continued recognition, justice, and education, ensuring that the suffering of those who perished is never forgotten, and the future generation remains committed to standing against genocide in all its forms. On Friday the 25th of April, with Mayor Mehmeti and Councillors O'Reilly, Trung and Le, I attended Anzac Day hosted by the Vietnamese Veterans Service at the Daniel Cranbourne RSL, and marched with them and many veterans from the base of the steps on the corner of McRae and Walker Street. This marks another year of honouring the courage, sacrifice and resilience of Australian and New Zealand's soldiers who served during the Gallipoli campaign and in subsequent conflicts. It was a day of reflection while also celebrating the national pride that Anzac Day represents.
Thank you, Councillor Yim. Councillor Dunn?
Thank you very much, Mayor. Just continuing on from Councillor Yim's comments, I was at the dawn service on Friday as well, with yourself and a few others. It was a beautiful service, and I was really pleased to see such a large turnout to an event like that. And that was all from me for this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dunn. Councillors, I've been to many announcements from the federal government election, which are very, very welcoming from all sides of, whether it be Labor, Greens, Liberal Party. We welcome all those announcements, and we're really grateful. But I want to mention a special one, an employment hub announcement of $1.5 million, where the Treasurer Jim Chalmers, the Attorney General Mark Dreyfus, and the Assistant Minister Julian Hill all attended here in Harmony Square to announce that, which was fantastic. And I'm hoping there's going to be a few more announcements from, doesn't matter which party, as long as the announcements are for the City of Greater Dandenong, we welcome them. I attended the GSEM meeting with Minister Stakos, who is the Minister for Local Government. We went with GSEM members to advocate through the local government, and hopefully we will encourage the state governments to make announcements at the next year's election. So you've got to start early to get something later on, so it was good to meet up with Minister Stakos. Councillors, like many of you, attended the many services. I attended firstly the Noble Park RSL sub-branch Anzac Day on Sunday, a commemoration march and service. On the 25th of April, then I attended the Anzac Day dawn service by Dandenong Cranbourne RSL branch. Later on, I attended the Anzac Day Vietnamese Veteran Service, organised by the Dandenong Cranbourne RSL branch. And lastly, I attended the Anzac Day March and Service organised by the Dandenong Cranbourne RSL. As Mayor of the City of Dandenong, I was honoured to attend the dawn service as we gathered to honour the courage, sacrifice and enduring spirit of the men and women who have served our nation in times of conflict and peace. Anzac Day is a solemn reminder of bravery and resilience of our soldiers. The men who served at the Gallipoli Peninsula 110 years ago created a legend, adding the word Anzac to our vocabulary and cementing the philosophy of the Anzac spirit. Their legacy is not just one of military achievement, but of the values they embodied, values of mateship, endurance and selflessness. Today we also pay tribute to all veterans who have served in subsequent conflicts and peacekeeping missions. Their dedication and sacrifice continue to inspire us and remind us of the true cost of freedom. We owe them a debt of gratitude that can never be fully repaid. At this time, we must also remember the families of the servicemen and women. Their support and sacrifices are an integral part of our nation's story, and their strength and resilience deserve our deepest respect. In honouring the past, we must also look to the future. It is our responsibility to ensure the legacy of the Anzacs is preserved and passed on to future generations. On Anzac Day, let us stand together, united in respect and gratitude for those who have served. Let us honour their memory by living the values they fought for and by working towards a brighter, more peaceful future. They gave their tomorrow for our today. So I think we need to make sure that we keep on passing this to generations and generations to come, because, like I said, they sacrificed theirs for our futures. So yeah, it was great to attend all the dawn services through Springvale, Noble Park and Dandenong, and it was a very proud moment being there as Mayor of the City. Councillors, I also attended the Bengali New Year celebration hosted by the Bengali Puya and Cultural Society. Shuvo Nobobordo means Happy New Year in Bengali. I also attended the Malayali Association Harmony Festival, which I received this trophy from the Women's Forum, recognises for attending the Harmony Fest 2025, and it was a beautiful function, plenty of lively music, and it was a harmonious event. I also attended, councillors, the 2025 Amari Gali dinner hosted by the African Youth Alliance and the Amari Group. The contribution of African heritage people has always been present in Australia and has continued to rise. Amari is committed to ensuring those significant contributions and moments do not go unnoticed. And the event was called the Celebrations Black Culture and Excellence, which was a fantastic event, and I was there to support people from our community, which was a great event. Ms Weatherall, you've got questions that were taken on notice at the last council meeting.
Yes, I do, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Table them now. Item 7, urgent business. If there's no urgent business, council. Item 8, close of business. I declare the council meeting closed at 7:44 p.m. Thank you very much and have a good evening.